Well, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking it out. I'm with my good friend Stephanie. And this is, I think, like between our channels, number 4 or 5 or
At
6.
least.
Yeah. So I don't know because we talk all the time on Instagram. I don't know where the conversations begin and end. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Do they become videos at some point?
there's a lot of wasted content we could have had on our channels.
Yeah.
We just, yeah.
We share.
So this is going to be a video, friends, on some of our all-time favorite movie endings. Now, you might be a little bit scared because you might feel like we'll ruin the movie for you, but Stephanie and I talked about it. We're going to do our best to not ruin movies, but we are going to gush over how great they are and why we think you should watch them and why the end, or at least I like how you worded it, how the end affected us and why we thought it was so significant.
Yes, without ruining, because we also discussed how John and I both agree that everybody should have that first time wow experience.
Yeah.
And we don't want to take that away from any of you. So, we will tread lightly.
There's one in here that you recommended, and I bought it. And the ending, we're going to get to it, but I can't stop myself. When you talk about saving that experience, the end, I felt it was coming and happening. And part of me wanted it to happen. The other part of me was like, I can't emotionally handle it. I can't. And then it happened. And then I was just destroyed. So in prep for this video, I watched it this morning and I'm at work, just like crying my eyes out. God. And then I went to go use the restroom. I was like hoping no other of my colleagues saw me because my eyes were just like, because the end is so good. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Now I'm curious as to which one it is. I'm looking forward to it.
My gosh, it's so good. So friends, Stephanie and I, we've got 5 films we're going to show you. I've got a stack of 5 here.
Oh, you have 5?
I do have 10. 5. Hey, go through all 10 years.
No, I got to cut it back now.
I say go through all 10. I you know what? Selfishly, I always enjoy hearing your movie recommendations. So we could do.
I got my 5. I just cut it back. Boom.
At the end, could we at least do a just shout out to the other 5 titles?
Yeah, or I could do at the end, or if you want to do
honorable mention in the beginning. Let's do that. Let's do honorable mentions. I don't have any, so but I always write down every title you tell me is good. So selfishly, I'm pretty excited for this. So friends, if you're watching this, we're gonna go through all of these and let us know in the comments below if you've seen these films, what you thought of the ending. Don't spoil it for anyone, and then let us know if there's some films that you think we should check out that maybe we've never seen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
All right.
So let's hear your honorable mentions.
All right. I'm gonna go. What do we say? Like a squirrel on crack. This first one stars John Cusack, Ray Liotta, and Amanda Peet, and it is Identity. I'm sure many of you have seen it, especially if you're into thriller horror. It's a bunch of people, very rainy night. They all end up in a motel. They are not sure why they are there or why they have been selected. They share some things in common, and the end will absolutely blow you away. And the movie's really good too. It's awesome.
All right.
This next one, I'm sure a lot of people have seen as well. Leonardo DiCaprio in Shutter Island. Have you seen this one?
I have seen that one. Yes.
So the ending. For me, he goes as a what is he, like a CIA or FBI detective, and he goes to this island where it is a mental hospital, and he is there to do an investigation. But the end of this movie, for me, the reason it was so significant is because I feel like it changes subsequent watches because you're going to look for things that you didn't look for on the first watch. But I love this movie, and I love this ending. See, nice. I can be short-winded. I am not always a fan of Charlize Theron, but I loved her in Tully. Did you see this one?
I have not seen that one.
She is a mom, and she has I think she has a little one and maybe one on the way. But anyway, she has a new baby. She is exhausted. She's burned out. So her brother offers to hire like a night nanny for her so that she and her husband can at least sleep at night. And she really starts to form a friendship and a bond with the night nanny and really grows to depend on her. And all I can say is the ending totally changed the movie for me.
Really?
Like, just, I can't even talk about it because I'll ruin it.
Okay.
But it is fantastic. I loved her in this, and I don't love her in many things, but she was great in this. She was great in Monster too.
Hmm.
But this one, the ending, I never saw it coming.
Okay.
Never saw it come. Blindsided me, but it was fantastic, and it
Those are
changed the
great
whole movie.
films. Those are great
Yeah,
ones when you had no idea it was coming.
no idea. I was totally blindsided. And this one is a movie that I absolutely love. I don't think the ending was like it wasn't like aha, it didn't change a lot for me, but I loved it. I thought it was perfect. And it's The Farewell,
Yes.
starring Aquafina.
Yeah.
And you've seen this?
Oh, many times.
So you know what I'm they're all going over to
Yeah.
is it China or Japan? China.
Yeah.
They're going to China because her grandmother has been she has stage 4 cancer, and she's going to die. And in China, they believe that it is it's the duty of the family members to keep the elders from knowing when they are sick or dying. So they go under the guise of a family wedding and a get together so they can all say their goodbyes to grandma. It is funny, it is heartwarming, it is sweet, it will make you laugh, it will make you cry.
Yeah.
Everyone in it is wonderful. And the best part is it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the ending got me. The ending got me. So I thought this was a really, really great movie. And if you haven't seen The Farewell, highly, highly recommend it.
I liked in that film, even in the silence, there's stuff happening in the relationships
Oh,
between
yeah.
all the connected, the family.
Fantastic.
In the car ride
Yep.
home,
Yep.
I was just broken. And a
Yep.
lot of time there's nothing even said in that scene. And I was just wrecked. It was
It's
so
such
good.
a beautiful movie.
Yep.
And they're
So
all
good.
perfect in their parts.
I'd never seen anything. That was the first thing I'd ever seen Aquafina in. And I had no expectation. I wasn't thinking she'll be amazing. I wasn't thinking she wouldn't be any good. And I was floored at how amazing she was.
I'm in the same boat. And the funny thing is, I think it was Jay. He said to me, he goes, "Oh, is that the one with Aquafina?" And I'm like, "You mean like the water? Like, is it?" And he goes, "No, it's like the actress." I don't know anybody called Aquafina. I'm thinking of the bottled water.
Okay. Yeah.
So now I know Aquafina. My last one. This is a pretty light one. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's Elizabethtown.
I haven't seen it actually.
Okay, so we have Orlando Bloom. It's a Cameron Crowe film, and I love Cameron Crowe. And we have Orlando Bloom, and who is this that's playing his girlfriend? I can't even remember her name. Anyway, he meets her, and he is going to oversee his father's funeral, his kind of estranged father's funeral. His mother and father are divorced. So he's going to kind of organize the funeral for his father. And this is just basically about his new relationship with this gal he meets and how it affects him and how interacting with his family affects him. And I can't say much about the ending, but the ending is so sweet and so beautiful and so perfect. It just made the movie for me.
Cool.
And when I
I'll think of
watched
that.
this, Elizabethtown, so good. And why can't I remember her name? I've seen her in a million things, and I can't remember her name. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Kirsten Dunst.
Okay. Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst. But yeah, she's great, and she just inserts herself into his life and just wants to kind of keep him going.
Okay.
And he's just like, all right. And she just keeps giving him all this good advice. And at the end, something amazing happens for him and it changes him, and it changed the whole movie for me. So I just think this is a winner. Elizabethtown.
Nice.
I think you'd really enjoy it.
Cool. Well, I've got a running list right now.
So that was my quick synopsis of my 5 honorable mentions.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go first, but I want to throw out 2 films first to see if because when we were thinking about endings, I was thinking about there's 2 films that totally surprised me. And I want to know if you were surprised by the ending. Sixth Sense. Did you see that coming, or were you?
Didn't see it coming. No.
Okay. When my wife and I just got married, and we went and saw that, and I was so angry in the theater. I was like, they made a mistake. Something's wrong. And whenever that comes out, I'm going to watch it to prove that they made a mistake, because I couldn't believe I was had the whole time, and couldn't believe it. And then the other one is Book of Eli. Did you see that coming?
No. I
I would.
love that movie.
It is
Love it.
amazing. Amazing.
Love it.
I saw it before my wife did, and I was floored. And I told her, I was
Mhm.
like, you have to watch this. It is unbelievable.
Yep.
You're gonna at the end of it, and 15 minutes in, she goes, oh, I won't say what it is in case folks you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
She called it in 15 minutes. And I was like, just shut it off. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Wow. She
Yeah.
needs a movie channel.
I don't think she'd even make a guest appearance on mine, let alone starting her own.
Oh, I'm gonna drag her on mine. We're gonna do the newlywed game.
There you go. We'll do that.
You and your wife and me and Kelly, and I'll be like, Kel, remember this movie? And she'll be like, no.
Right. Yeah.
I ask her the next day, I'm like, well, what'd you think of that? And she's like, what do we watch? No. So
My wife picked the movie last night, and it was, what was it? State of Play. Russell Crowe, Ben Affleck, Rachel McAdams.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's like 13 years old or something. And we were like, have we seen this movie or not? And it was so good. Helen Mirren's in it. It was great. I
love Helen Mirren.
It's like high energy, suspense, thriller, political mystery drama. It's great. Highly recommend it. It's
okay.
Good.
You have to see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
I know you told me about it. I looked at, I have that on my list.
Oh, so sweet. It's really, you know what? There's so much. It is not a movie I would ever pick.
Okay.
A really good friend of mine told me about it. She's like, just watch this. It's a feel good movie. You'll be happy you watched it. And I'm like, all right, I trust her.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it. And, you know, we're bombarded with negativity and all kinds of garbage every day. I felt so relaxed and so happy after I watched that movie.
Those are good.
It was wonderful. It was so good, but it wasn't like silly.
Okay.
It was good. It was just good. And I was relaxed. And I'm like, I'm so into this. I'm here for it. So I don't know that everybody will feel that way, but I certainly did. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
It was just a happy movie.
I watch That Thing You Do when I want to just feel joy. That's my go-to, and I just want just joy.
Yeah. We all need it. Comfort films.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, why don't you go first, Stephanie, and we'll dive in.
So you're still having me ramble? Now, do you know a little bit of French, being French Canadian?
I took 9 years of it, and I'm terrible.
Okay, because I know nothing about. I don't know any of it, but people have told me that I almost say this correctly, and I'm not sure. And the movie is Incendies.
Yeah, I don't know that word.
This is it's an amazing movie. It's a very heavy movie. A mother dies, and she has a son and a daughter, and she tasks them through her will with going back to her home country to find their father and their brother who they didn't know were still alive. So this is the daughter, and what happens is she is following her mother's footsteps through all the villages to try to figure out her mother's life. And it's kind of like, it does like time jumps, but they're easy to follow. And you're seeing the mother's life through the daughter's steps, through her journey. But the ending of this movie, the only thing I can describe it as is a gut punch.
Oh, wow.
But it changed the entire movie for me. And it's an amazing movie. It's not a feel-good movie.
Okay.
But it is a very good movie. And the ending just absolutely, I never saw it coming.
And you said that's a French film.
Yeah, it says it's yeah. And actually when the mother passes, they're living in Canada.
Okay.
And then they I forget where she sends her back to. She sends her to the Middle East. They're not specific where they send her, but she goes from village to village to try and find out about her mother and her mother's life, because she's trying to find two people she doesn't know. And she's hoping through meeting people that her mother knew and people that knew her mother that she'll be able to find this father and this brother that she's never known.
Wow.
But very, very heavy. And her brother, who is living, refuses to go on the journey with her. But
okay,
he's in the movie, and I think he comes in like around the third act, but what an ending.
Okay.
What an ending. And everyone I've told to watch this, they said same thing, gut punch of an ending.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, not a feel good. Be ready.
I like the occasional feel good movie.
It's good though. It's
Yeah.
very interesting, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see her follow her mother's life that way and
Okay.
learn about her mother, good and bad, like what she went through as a person. She went through some really tough things.
Wow.
That her daughter had no idea.
Okay.
So it's pretty amazing.
Is it a film that you could watch again and see differently because you know the end?
Parts of it, yeah.
Okay.
But parts of it would remain unchanged. Like you would just, I find that's a subtitled film.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes with the subtitled films, what I'll find out is once I know the story, maybe I'll be able to connect with things that maybe I missed the first time.
Okay.
Be it maybe something in the scenery that I was paying attention to the subtitles or something. But when you know the story, you can kind of, I think, do both a little easier after the first watch.
Yeah.
I would say it changed the third act.
Okay.
Parts of the third act, I was like, oh, all right, now I get it.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't understand this or why it's so important.
All right. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Tonight will be, after this conversation, will be Serial and YouTube watching trailers.
There you go. There you go.
Awesome. Well, my first one is my most mainstream, and it's probably not a shocker, but it's one of my favorite endings, and it is not the original Rocky.
Okay.
It's Rocky Balboa, and
okay,
which has a lot of. If you've seen the first Rocky, although most people have seen not most people. People maybe never get to Rocky Balboa. They peter out at like the second Rocky or the third Rocky. I obviously have watched the whole thing multiple times. What I love about the end of Rocky Balboa is it does mirror a little bit of the first Rocky. Mm-hmm. And I think emotionally, this might be Rocky Balboa is one of the most emotional of the first six for me. Yeah, if you've watched the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything, Adrian has passed, and you still have Paulie, who is probably my second favorite character in the entire series. Mm-hmm. But you start walking through and wading through a lot of like emotional hurt and trauma from all of these characters, and learning about his son, Rocky's son, who has a strained relationship with. And then my favorite scene in the whole thing, maybe my second favorite. No, it's my favorite scene when they're in the meat packing place and he's talking about stuff being in the basement, and it's a very emotional scene. And Paulie's going through it. So the closing scene for me is when they're in the ring. It's the final round. He should not have gone the distance with that young fella, and he goes. And what I loved about it was you saw the humility of the character, and you see the character. He's finished. Even though you got the two Creed films, which were brilliant. I love them. That character is finished, but he's not finished. I won't say what happens with the result of the fight. Right. But what I thought was so cool is it didn't matter what the result of the fight was for him internally. Yes. And for me, it was just a perfect bookend to that series. So that made me really nervous when the Creed stuff came out, because it was like, this is going to ruin everything. And then it didn't. It was so good. But you saw him internally become settled, and there's just such amazing humility. Anyway, if I talk about it too much, I'll end up giving it away. But the final scene, the ring, the fight, it didn't matter. Right. It's the walking out. When he's walking out of the ring, all of the things he says to everyone along the way, and then as he's leaving the stadium, was just perfect. And I was just in awe the whole time and floored. So if you've never made it to the Rocky Balboa because you thought it would not be great, I encourage you. You absolutely must. And then go to the Creed films.
Yeah, I thought Rocky Balboa. I enjoyed Rocky Balboa.
I thought it was going to be horrible. An older fighter who's broke down. I was like, this is going to be so sad watching this. And it wasn't. And I thought it would be a joke, like it would be silly. And it wasn't silly. Right. It was, and I don't like 5. I thought 5 was silly. I love it because you can give me 15 and I'll watch them all. Right. But but yeah, I thought it was great. And I love I love the character and he
Yeah,
has my heart. So yeah, I thought it was great.
I agree. I enjoyed it. I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it, but I did.
I miss Paulie so much in the Creed films.
Yeah,
Because he just is one of my favorites. He just
yeah,
is such a complex character. He's
yeah,
broken. And in the first couple of films, he's a jerk and you don't
yeah,
like him.
yeah. He's terrible.
He is terrible. He's mean to everyone. But
Turkey
in
out the
this,
window.
turkey out the window. But in this one, you just see he's broken too, and he's a human too.
Yeah,
So yeah. So Rocky Balboa.
for the
Yeah.
win.
For the win.
I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's
All
a
right.
good
So
one.
that's number 5 for me.
Okay. My second one, I'm not even gonna try. Maybe I'll try and say it. I sent this to you. Shoplifters.
Yes.
And this is the I was telling John, the reason I sent him a DVD because the Blu-ray is region B locked, but you can get this on DVD if you are not region free. This is a fantastic movie from, it is Koreeda Hirokazu. I probably butchered that, but it's a Japanese name. And we start out, we meet this family, and they are shoplifters. They are teaching the kids how to shoplift and do petty thefts and things like that to survive. They steal food to get by, and they are a family unit. And you can see them on the back. There they are. And you can see them on the front. And they have a grandmother and mother and a father and a bunch of kids, and they're all living under the same roof. And they're doing what they have to do to get through life. And in the third act, there is a very subtle shift that happens. And it happens, they just kind of slide it in there to the point where you have to go. I stopped. I'm like, what just happened? And I flipped it back. It changes the entire story. It is so good. It is so amazing. It just changed everything. It changed the entire movie. It made me want to go back and rewatch the movie immediately.
Really?
It was so good. I never saw it coming, and they just so subtly put it in there. It wasn't like this like thump. They were just having a casual conversation, and all of a sudden one sentence changed the whole movie. And I was just blown away. And ever since I saw this, I want to see everything the director puts out. And he's got a few films in the Criterion collection.
Oh, really?
I think one is called Afterlife, and the other one is Still Walking, I think it is.
Okay.
Really, really good. But this is amazing. And I can't wait for you to watch it and tell me your thoughts, because this is a movie that was made by the ending. I mean, I was enjoying it up until that point, never saw it coming. And just, it was so masterfully done. The way it was just like, we're going to feed you something, and you never saw it coming. So good. And yeah, you're just going to want to go back and rewatch it. But I don't want to say too much because it will ruin it. But it's a lot of fun. It's great. And you won't be disappointed. So if anyone hasn't seen Shoplifters, like I said, the DVD is still available on Amazon. And I think the Blu-ray is still available too, but again, region B locked.
Okay.
And it is subtitled. So
okay.
I think, yeah, I only have one more subtitled films, and then
you're bringing highbrow films, and I brought
not
Rocky.
really. I mean, no, because after
this is why I love your recommendations.
It's been a while since I've done a video, so
this is no joke.
Fun.
2 of these 5 that I would say are my favorites, some of my favorite all-time endings are direct recommendations from you. So, so this is, I'm glad you're bringing these films. So
I'm glad then. I'm glad that it helped someone.
Well, there's one of them that I think I immediately messaged you on Instagram afterwards and said, that's maybe my new favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
So it was good.
And I think I agree with you.
Well, that's a great pick. This is great. So my next one is one that probably people would maybe assume that I would bring a film from this genre to this conversation. And so, yeah, the other three, I don't think I've talked about much on the channel, but this one is one that I love. It's from 1936, and it's Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times.
Oh, yes.
And so the ending of this one, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Chaplin film, but this is the last time he played the tramp. And so if you watch all of his movies, I would recommend watching this one last before his talkies. So watch all his silent stuff and then watch this one, because this is the last time he plays the character. And if you follow the tramp, he is a bumbling kind of, he acts as though he's highly sophisticated, but he's not. He's a bumbling guy. He's got a massive heart, and he cares and he loves. He's low on the social status all the time. He always messes things up. He gets in his own way, or life gets in his way. And when you watch the films, you feel for him. And I think that's one of the things that Chaplin did so brilliantly, is that you watch it and you laugh a lot, but you also have such a heart. You want him to win. He's such an underdog, and he makes you laugh. There's times where he makes you cry, and you're always rooting for him. And at the end of the films, I always feel like, oh, I wish he could just be the winner this time. I wish he could. And this time, the last time he comes out as the tramp, I can't spoil it. And it isn't a long scene for the closing. It's this short little scene at the very end, but it is the most satisfying thing if you've watched all of them and then finish with this.
Right.
You just go, I love this. You just feel so excited for him and happy. And it's just perfect. And so I can't explain it, but it couldn't be better. So this one, I say put at the end of all his silent films. Watch the other ones first, and this will be a very, very satisfying finish to this film and to everything you've learned about the Little Tramp so far.
Well, I'm glad I know that, because I wouldn't have known to put that last.
Okay, yeah.
So that's helpful.
I mean, you certainly don't have to, and they're not connected.
But it makes sense, though.
Yeah, and I think people, when you watch Chaplin's films, you do get to develop a heart for him, because he's genuinely sweet. I can be a little bit of a buffoon sometimes, but he's a sweet guy, and you really do love him. And so to finish this, you just like, oh yes, I wanted this for you for so long. So it's good. Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
Anything Chaplin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's one more, I think, The King of New York, that was a significant film. It was banned for a while in the US, that I really hope Criterion does, because they have 8 of his films. So I can't be selfish. They have 8, but if they could bump it to 9, that'd be wonderful.
They probably will. They will.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's a reason they can't get the rights. I mean, if they have that many of his films.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think it's got like a foreign release, but
yeah,
it'd be great.
Okay.
So anyway, that's
one. That's a good one. Can't go wrong with Chaplin. I'm not surprised.
No. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anyone would be surprised by that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've been pretty open about your love of his work, and I appreciate that. I think that's great.
He's great.
So now I know. I'm going to save that one till last.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. All right. So I have one. This has an American remake, but I am going to go with the original, because, that's how we roll. And it is Old Boy. Have you seen it or heard of it?
I've heard of it. Is the remake? Wait, you said this is the original?
This is the original. There's
an
American.
The remake Josh Brolin?
Might be. Okay. There's an American remake, and I wouldn't even bother with it.
Okay, Old Boy.
Yeah, just go with it. Go with this one. It's Park Chan-wook. Park Chan-wook. There's a gentleman who's running around. This film starts out, and he's out on the town, and people are making sure that he's getting intoxicated.
Okay.
And he ends up passing out, and he wakes up in a room where he stays for 15 years. He does not know why he's there. He doesn't know who took him. He doesn't know why he's being held. They feed him, the soup dumplings. That's all he eats for 15 years. That's all they feed him. So he's obviously never going to want a soup dumpling again. And they won't tell him anything about why he's there, when he's getting out, nothing. And one day they come to him and they release him, and they give him a cell phone, and they tell him he has 5 days to figure out why he's there. and they tell him he has 5 days to figure out who took him, why they took him, and why he's been there. And it is amazing. It's brutal at times.
Okay.
And the ending is insanity. It's insane. And like with these Japanese films, they don't hold anything back.
Right.
So there's a lot of action, a lot of this and that. There's some, I'm not even gonna get into it because I'll ruin the ending.
Okay.
But I would have never in a million years seen this ending coming.
Really?
But it's really, really, it obviously it answers all the questions to the movie.
Okay.
Because we follow him on this journey and he's trying to figure out what the heck has gone on that I've lost 15 years of my life. Like what's the point? Why was I kept? Who kept me? And why was I there? And amazing. If you haven't seen Old Boy, put it high on your list to see because it's a winner.
Okay.
And don't watch the American remake. It's not worth it.
Don't watch it.
It actually comes, these come, yeah, it says 15 years of imprisonment, 5 days of vengeance on the bottom. And it actually comes in I think it's called the Vengeance series. And it has, not this one, but there's another one. It has like 3 different films, like Lady Vengeance and something else. But there's 3 different films that are kind of similar along the same vein, but Old Boy for the win every single time. So that's another one.
Awesome. It's on the list. So that was 3 straight subtitle films.
And no more. Two are not. Well, but then I had my honorable mentions with only 1 subtitle.
That's right.
So I did have a mix. Yeah, I did have a mix. And I think a lot of people have seen Old Boy. It's pretty popular.
Okay.
So I'd be interested in the comments without anybody. Don't be that person. Don't ruin it. But like, did you think that the ending were you shocked by the ending?
Okay.
Because I was like, whoa, okay.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not really interested in that.
Not a feel good ending. Not a. I don't know what.
So 5 days of vengeance. So there is some revenge.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
It's more that he's trying to answer questions that he doesn't even know what the questions are.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
He's kind of like, I woke up in this room. I don't know where I am. I don't know who took me. I don't know why they took me. I don't know what happened. I don't know he has no idea what's been going on for 15 years except soup dumplings. And this room, he's been in this room. It looks like a bedroom. And he's been in there and they drop him off and they say you have 5 days to figure it out. And
it's on my list.
He figures it out.
I will be watching the trailer tonight.
Yep.
Not the remake.
Not the remake.
That's a great pick. Next is one of yours that you recommended to me. Okay. And I think with that day or the next day, I bought it on Amazon and I watched it by myself, and I'm glad because I was in a puddle when I was done. And it's Blue Bayou.
It's a winner.
And you told me about this and you said it was a great film, but you also said it was an important film because of what it educates us on. So it's not a documentary. It's very much a movie, but it is, it even says on the back that it's inspired by true events. It's an actual problem, an immigration issue. And if I mess anything up, feel free to correct me. Where people who were adopted into the United States, sometimes in their adult life, are found that their adoption process wasn't done properly and are deported back to their country of origin, even though they don't know the language and may not have a single friend or family member there. And how literal families can be torn apart and jobs lost, everything, your whole life gone. And so this family, so you have the mom and dad and the little girl, and then there's one on the way eventually. And the film is you kind of getting to know them and their story and their struggles, but you've got a heart, you're building a heart for them. And then this immigration issue happens. And then the closing scene is the one I was saying, I was like, when it's happening, I'm like, oh, no, please don't let this happen. And there's this highly emotional moment. And then it's like it breaks. And then that's when you get just obliterated.
Yes.
And things that are said in that exchange were said earlier in the film that come back to you. And I would say, as someone who is not from this country, but also someone who, as a father, I was just destroyed. And what he was feeling, I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. You would be feeling all of that. And your heart just breaks for every single one of them.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. So again, thank you, Stephanie, for recommending this one. I've recommended it to everyone. And I don't know if I'd ever watch it with anyone because it just kills me, but I'll watch as many more times because it's so good.
I think it's the only other person I've heard talk about it was Rick from Down to Movie.
Yeah.
I think it was one of his picks of the year for what maybe last year. It was one of his favorites. I think it was one of his favorites for 2020 or 2019.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So it was one of his favorites, and he's the only other person I've heard really talk about it. But I think it's such an important film because it's such a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's a good way, it's a medium to get people to sit down and say, listen, we have to do something about this. But yeah, I was blown away by it.
Yeah.
Same thing. And I mean, I'd like to get into it more, but I'm not going to, but I think it's a learning experience too. It's, it pulls it hits all the buttons.
Yeah. And it's not like you are learning, but you never feel like this is a documentary. You never feel like you're being preached at.
Yeah. Nobody's on a yeah.
No, but
no one's up on the soapbox.
No, but you're becoming aware of something that's real all around us.
Yep.
And at the end of the film, I think the great thing it does is it says this problem is human.
Yeah.
This isn't a political issue. This isn't opinions or sides. This is a human issue, and real humans are impacted by this. And I think you just get a great sense of that by the end of it.
Yeah. It's a human issue because of human error.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was a thing before that movie. Either. I didn't know that this thing could even happen. Yes. And now it's like my eyes are totally open to it.
And his character, like there's nothing he could have done about it.
No.
Like he was completely unaware. And
he had no clue.
It's not like you can correct it or I can fix this.
Yep.
You can't. Yep. And oh man, it was heartbreaking. It was brilliantly done.
Yep.
Really important film. Yeah.
Super underrated.
Yep. Absolutely. You're right. I've only heard you and Rick talk about it.
Yep. Yep. Because I think I heard Rick talk about it. I think I had just watched it and I was like, yes, somebody. Because I picked it up on a whim and I'm like, this sounds interesting. And I read about it and I watched the trailer and I'm like, I have to see this. Mm-hmm. And then I watched it and then I heard Rick talk about it. And I tend to agree with a lot of movies that he likes when they're like that. I'm not into the wrestling thing, but he loves his wrestling and good for him. But like, when he picks those, usually with the dramatic movies, he's on the money for me anyway. Yeah. We tend to have the same taste with the dramatic ones.
My only beef with Rick. I love that guy. He's one of I think he might.
He doesn't like Lord of the Rings.
He might be the first YouTuber I ever watched.
I know.
I just don't understand. And it crushes my soul. I'm like, because when my father-in-law introduced me, I was like, oh, cool. I don't really want to watch movies about wizards and trolls and elves. And I was so bummed out about having to watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Rick's channel. He is phenomenal. He's recommended amazing stuff to me. I just don't understand that one thing.
He was one of my first YouTube friends.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. When I started my channel, he was one of the first people that had a channel that actually kind of reached out and, welcomed me in. Yeah. He's a cool guy. I like him.
Yep. Him, Joe, and Marie, those three were the first people to say, hey, welcome.
Yep.
You're allowed to be here.
Yeah.
Just go for it. So
you can play with all the other kids. Well, now I have a non-subtitled film for everyone who's been waiting past the after the honorable mentions. And I'll tell you something interesting about this, but the movie is called Chained. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. It stars Vincent D'Onofrio, who people probably know from Full Metal Jacket. And it's funny because when I first started doing videos, I always called him Vincent D'Onofrio.
Okay.
because I had a math teacher in 8th grade, and his name is spelled exactly the same, and people called him Mr. D'Onofrio. And we would get detention because he said it's Donofrio. We would get detention. So then I'm calling him Donofrio, and people are like, it's Don Offrio. And I'm like, I'm so screwed up. So
That's
Vincent
hilarious.
D'Onofrio, not my math teacher. He plays a cab driver. And early on in the movie, he picks up, there is a woman who has taken her young son to the movies. She tells her husband, we're going off. It's a matinee, so it's middle of the day, not high risk. He picks her up. He takes them back to his house where he kills the mother, keeps the young boy, and he keeps him chained to a bed and a wall. And he's got him there. And like when he takes him, the kid's maybe 8 years old. Like he's young, like maybe between 5 and 8. And then we fast forward to like when he's like 15, like in puberty and all this. And the house is disgusting. The conditions are disgusting. He's got the kid cleaning dirty dishes, and it's just a deplorable dump of a house. And Vincent D'Onofrio is just so good at being so disgusting. And he's like, you want to take a shower after you watch this movie, but the ending absolutely blew me away. Not in a million years. I would have never guessed it. And it changed the entire movie.
Really? Changed
everything. I was like, what in the hell just happened?
Really?
I couldn't believe it. But really good movie. And I would say it's like a dark thriller.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it a horror movie.
Okay.
It's more like ugh, makes your skin crawl, but the ending is crazy. That's all I can say about it. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I kept going back a channel because I'm like, I have to see this again. Really? And I couldn't believe it. But yeah, Chained. I would recommend this one.
Okay.
Like if you want something dirty and grimy but not scary, it's like he tries to teach him about girls. He's like, oh, it's time for you to learn about girls. So he gets him he kidnaps a girl and brings her home for him. And he's like, don't come out till you're done. Jeez. Like all kinds of weird, creepy crap. But like the ending, it's all about the ending with that one.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. Yep. And it's
okay.
not Donofrio.
Not Donofrio.
Not Donofrio.
And not a feel-good movie.
Not a feel-good movie, but it's crazy. It's interesting though.
Okay.
Yeah, like I like when on subsequent watches, I've been like, all right, okay. Like you see things differently.
Sure. All right.
Very strange.
I've got a long list of films I need to check out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my next pick, I think we're down to, you've got one left, right?
What do you have? One?
I've got two.
Okay.
Yeah. So second to last. And I was told this film was weird when you start watching it. Like you'll feel weird about watching it.
Okay.
And they were right. And then all of a sudden everything changes. But it's Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
And I was told you're going to feel weird about laughing at what you're going to laugh at.
Yes.
And then it changes for you.
Yep.
And so it's funny. It's a weird movie. So this little fella here, Hitler is his imaginary friend.
Yep.
Which is already offensive. And he wants to be one of Hitler's youth and believes in the cause and everything and wants to make Hitler proud.
Yep.
And Scarlett Johansson is his mom. Mm-hmm. And he just adores his mom, loves her. I don't want to ruin it. So he discovers something about his mom, something that his mom believes that is in direct opposition to what he believes, everything he believes. And so then he begins to take the position his mom held, and he struggles with the inner turmoil of the whole thing. And it is incredibly conflicted. And then by the end of the film, there is, I've explained this film as it's the best ending, the most perfect ending of any film, because I tear up and I laugh really hard at the exact same time. And do you know the scene I'm talking about when they're on the street at the end?
Uh-huh.
And every line is perfect. Every facial expression is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Every sway, literally how the music swells in. It's perfect ending.
Yep.
And even the language in which the song is sung in is perfect. It's a song we all know, but it's just amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
laugh and I cry. I'm sad and I'm so happy at the exact same time. And I don't know if I've ever felt that before in a film, that I felt those feelings equally as present in one moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great pick. It's a great pick.
Yeah, it is. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
I love all his films.
Well, you told me about some other ones, Boy and the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah. And so after he started blowing up, those were just like gone from Amazon. But one day I'll pick them up. But this is just, I can't remember who recommended this movie to me, but it's amazing. And the ending is just perfect. It's a perfect ending.
Yeah. It's a great film. Good pick.
So Jojo Rabbit.
And then we have our last pick.
Yeah.
We have our last pick.
We do. We found out, I didn't know the other films you're showing, but we did in our conversation find out we did have one common film.
Which I'm shocked we only had one.
You know what? I was wondering about Blue Bayou because you recommended it to me so highly.
I thought about it.
I wonder, and then I know we both have a huge affinity for Rocky, and I was like, I wonder, but yeah.
See, that I'll always bow to you. And Chaplin, I'll always bow to you. And I thought you might pick Blue Bayou because it deeply affected you.
Yes.
And so I had my hand on it and I'm like, he's gonna pick that. I know that. And I was 99.9% sure you picked our film here.
It might be my favorite film. It's that good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's technically your pick. So
now let's pick it up.
All right.
Of us.
Here we go.
Here we 1, 2, 3.
9 days.
9 days.
It is unbelievable.
So
go for it, Stephanie.
Oh,
I'll let you start. You recommended it to me. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of picked this one up on a whim. I didn't know much about I didn't know much about it. I watched a little bit, I read a little bit, and I was absolutely floored when I watched it. And it's a group of people who are there's a guy who sits and he watches these television screens day and night of people and their going through their lives, and you're not really sure why. I'm going to keep it vague because I don't want to ruin anything. And people are coming to this house. Is very isolated, almost looks like a desert.
Yep.
It's beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful.
It is.
It's a beautiful setting. And they actually picked that setting on purpose. If you watch some of the extra features, that was a real setting. And I did not know that, but I watch it. It's the special feature making of 9 days. But they are all sent there because there's been an opening. Someone has died on one of the television sets. And these people are basically applying to get a second chance at life. And the main guy decides if they have what it takes or what he believes it takes to have another chance at a full life. And the thing about this movie is things that maybe you think are strengths turn out to be weaknesses. Things that you think would be maybe like, that might be a weakness or a fault, he sees as a strength, or it's determined that it's a strength. You feel every emotion, but the ending, oh my good God, the ending. I told John a long time ago, I don't cry at films. I cried like a baby both times when I saw this one. I have never seen an ending like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It ripped everything out of the characters and the viewer.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to say it without totally giving it away.
Mm-hmm.
But you just see people coming full circle in their journey.
Yes.
And it was done just beautifully and masterfully. And the writing is, everything about this movie is perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't change a thing. So
no,
whatever you want to add to this. I told John, I took a chance. I said, check this movie out. Tell me if you like it, because I didn't know if anybody would be as blown away as I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the message. John sent me a message.
Yeah.
So your thoughts?
No, so at the end of it, this isn't giving anything away, but at the end of it, I was so thankful to be alive.
Yep.
And it was like a perspective changing film of, if you watch it and you really take heart, like you and I having this conversation is an incredible gift. And
yes,
it didn't have to happen. And in fact, probability wise, this conversation should never have happened. And the laugh I shared with my daughter today and the smile I exchanged with my wife today, none of those things probability wise should ever have happened. And yet I got to have them. And so it kind of gives you this appreciation for literally every minute of your life. Like, I got to have this, and that's insane.
Yeah.
And at the end of the film, I was just so thankful. Like, that's the best way to, I felt this huge sense of gratitude by the end. And it was just so beautifully, it was honest about the hard parts of life and the difficulty and the pain and grief. And it was honest about the beauty of life and the gift of life. And you're right, all the characters do come full circle. And that closing scene, the whole time, this isn't giving anything away because I'm not going to say who it was or anything, but the whole time one person is looking for a gift. And at the end, they're able to give a gift. And I was just like, holy cow. And it was beautifully done with grace and the actors in it. So it's like Winston Duke, who I'd never seen in anything before. Zazie Beetz was amazing. Benedict Wong, Tony Hale. Tony was a surprise to me because I thought he was outstanding. I know him from Arrested Development and then Wheaties and a couple little things, but so good. And Bill Skarsgård was in it. Man, it's just, the cast is amazing. It's a hard film. Even if we were using spoilers, it's a hard film to describe.
You it's an experience is what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really an experience and a lesson, I think, too, in thankfulness and mindfulness, being mindful.
Yeah.
Through your day, like stop and notice what's around you.
Yeah.
And just take pause in the moments. And those little moments and the big moments are equally as important.
Yeah.
And I mean, you hit the nail on the head about just being thankful.
And it's not like a preachy movie.
No,
at all. It's very subtle. And you're right. It's a great word, experience. You just experience something.
Yep.
That's where you end up. It is not preaching at you, or it's not heavy handed. You just experience something and you end up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, thank you again. 2 out of 5 recommended by you, that I think are the greatest endings of any film I've ever seen.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great one to end on.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Friends, if you're watching it, just go buy it on Amazon. It's worth it.
Yeah. Don't even think about it. Just buy it. It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's it's slower paced. And at the beginning, you might be like, what is it? Just stay with it.
Yes.
I watched it very late at night, as you know I do. And I fell into it. I just slowly just went right into it, and I couldn't look away. It was so good.
It's one of those films similar to Blue Bayou that I hear no one talk about.
No.
And that shocks me because of how amazing it is.
I think sometimes, and this isn't, again, it's not a slight at anything or anyone, or I think that sometimes as maybe it's an American thing. I think sometimes we're taught to be impatient. And I think with some of these films, you have to give it time to tell its story at its pace, not at our pace. Like we go all day. And when you sit down and you watch these films, sometimes they require more patience than I think what we are taught to have.
Yeah.
But if you can just stop, give it a moment, let it unfold. Not every film that's great has to be a barn burner. I love to say that.
Sure.
Sometimes it just takes a minute. But when you let it do its thing at the pace it's meant to go at,
Yeah.
the payoff is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you can just breathe and watch it, don't do it in the middle of the day if there's in busyness, work busyness, or kid busyness.
It's
if
a
you have a
quiet
chance,
time.
yeah, it's a very quiet time.
Yep.
And just breathe and watch the movie. And
yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Well, I hope people, I hope people have some good recommendations to check out. And friends, if you do have some films that you recommend, please do put them in the comments below.
Definitely.
And let us know what you thought of the endings of these ones, if you did enjoy them or if you have seen them. And if you haven't, go check them out, especially 9 Days, and let us know what you think.
Yeah. I'm going to drag John over to my channel for Horror Month.
Last year I watched Carrie and
Halloween.
So this year I still need to land on 1 or 2 films I got to watch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. So any recommendations are warmly welcomed.
I'll have to think of a few. I don't know. Maybe you're ready for The Devil's Rejects.
I'm not sure if I'll ever be ready for
that. I don't know. I think maybe I will send you a shirt.
That would be an interesting shirt to wear.
Yeah. So. Captain Spaulding's Fried Chicken.
I don't even know what that means. But...
yeah, if you watch the movie, you'll know.
Okay.
Because it's so damn good.
That's great. So I do have to decide what film to watch. At least one. So.
Yeah. We'll find one that's a notch up from Halloween.
So I've never seen any of like the Nightmare on Elm Street. I've never seen. Not worth it.
You know what? They were great at they're classics. It's like Texas Chainsaw and but a lot of times now I'll see them and I got in trouble. I said I laughed at Texas Chainsaw. I don't think it's scary. I think it was a groundbreaking film at the time.
Right.
It's gritty, it's tough, it's dirty, it's stinky. It's like if it had smell-o-vision, you wouldn't even want to go in that house. But and Leatherface, I mean, he's terrifying to look at. But it's just it didn't ever scare me. Halloween didn't scare me either.
Right.
But I just think that these are films that's why we have some of the films we have today. But today, I think they push it a little more.
Sure.
Than they did back then.
Mm-hmm.
But you love your Universal monsters, and we've talked about that too. Without the Universal monsters, you don't have Halloween. You don't have the things that we have today. So it's all. And sometimes there are limits that it's just it goes too far, and then I dial it back because I don't want to go too far.
Sure.
So I'm not that nuts.
Well, I always take your recommendations. So
yeah, we'll tread lightly with you on that one with the horror stuff.
That would be appreciated. So
yes, I'm not going to drive you nuts.
Well, thanks so much, Stephanie, for doing this. We talked about doing this one for a little bit, and so I'm glad we got to get the chance to do it. And
always, and I always appreciate you having me on and being so gracious and letting me come on and screw up your channel.
I do that on my own. On the Big Tuesdays where everyone's showing off the new stuff, I show off Claudette Colbert films. So
yeah, and my channel's always under construction, so we don't know what's going on. I'm building a bridge.
I am more than capable of destroying my own channel. So
on that note.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. Friends, if you've never been to Stephanie's channel, you have been to her channel. She's just amazing content. And yes, you said it's under construction, but there's such good stuff to go back to. And I've rewatched many of much of your content. So so thank you so much. I really do always enjoy talking movies with you, Stephanie.
Same.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, take care. And until next time.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yep.